22 items. What's the take of this board on this agenda?
President, I move that we adopt the
It's been moved by Ms. Jones and seconded by Ms. Williams that this agenda with 22 items before be adopted. All those in favor, use the sign to vote aye. Opposed, the same sign. Ayes have it, that motion is carried. Next item, we have resolution of respect and admiration for two individuals. Resolution for Dr. J.J. Lucas and resolution for Mr. Carl Benson. I ask that those resolutions be adopted and submitted to the families of the said individuals whose names are called. Can we get a motion to adopt?
I second.
It's been moved by Dean and seconded by Ms. Jones that we adopt these resolutions and submit them to the families. All those in favor, use the sign of voting aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Ayes have it, that motion has been carried. Next item on the agenda, item number 4. Recognition of election to the office of Holmes County Consolidated School Board. Would you like to speak on that?
Yes, sir. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
On behalf of the governor of the state of Mississippi, we would like to recognize you, the board, for being elected as the new board members for the newly created Holmes County Consolidated School District. So on behalf of the governor, I present to you this plaque. And it reads, State of Mississippi, Office of the Governor. To all to whom these presents shall come, greetings. In the name of the state of Mississippi, I, Theo Bryant, acting under the authority vested in the governor by the Constitution and laws of the state of Mississippi, in appearing from proper evidence received at the office of the Secretary of State, do hereby affirm Anthony Tony Anderson was duly and constitutionally elected to the office of Holmes County Consolidated School Board Member, District A, and do hereby issue this commission to hold the office until removed or replaced in accordance with the laws of the state. Given under my hand and you seal affixed hereto at the city of Jackson, this the 2nd day of January in the year of our Lord, 2018, Governor Bryant and C. Delbert Hausman, Jr., Secretary of State. Thank you all.
Thank you, Superintendent.
Ms. Vice President,
Thank you.
Ms. Secretary,
Thank you.
Board Member, former Superintendent, Mr. Horton.
We thank you for your service.
We thank you all. We're now at item number 5, which would be public comment.
Thank you, sir.
My name is Jane Smith. I'm here to read the law concerning the employees of Holmes County School System having their personal and medical leave days taken from them. I'm going to read from Mississippi Code Title 37, Chapter 7, Article 7, 37-7307. First, it addresses employees of the school system. And it said the school board of the district shall establish by rules and regulations a policy of sick leave with pay for licensed employees and teacher assistants employed in the school district. And this is the important part. Such policy shall include the following minimum provisions for sick and emergency leave. Section B says that in the event any public school licensed employee or teacher assistant transfers from one public school district in Mississippi to another, it does not say anything about consolidation. Any unused portion of the total sick leave allowance credited to such licensed employee or teacher assistant shall be credited to such licensed employee or teacher assistant in the computation of unused leave for retirement purposes under section 25-11-101. Accumulation of sick leave allowed under this section shall be unlimited. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Next person we have is Jacoby Blue.
Good evening. My name is Jacoby Blue. I'm 16 years old. I'm a junior at Holmes County Central High School, and I'm a youth organizer at Knowledge Jenkins Family Center. Knowledge Jenkins Family Center is a community-based organization working together to build and sustain strong families, leaders, and communities. As you may know, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. For the past 3 years, we have done work to uplift domestic violence, such as rallies, marches, plays, and art projects for Domestic Violence Month. A proclamation to designate the month of October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and Friday, October 19, 2018, as Domestic Violence Awareness Day. Whereas during the month of October, community-based organizations, groups, and citizens across Holmes County will join to raise awareness about domestic violence and intimate partner violence. And whereas domestic violence and intimate partner violence is a serious crime that affects people of all races, ages, gender, and income levels. And whereas girls and women in Holmes County are the most vulnerable, suffering the highest rates of intimate partner violence. And whereas exposure to domestic violence and intimate partner violence places our young men and women in danger of long-term physical, psychological, and emotional harm. And whereas children who experience domestic violence and intimate partner violence are at higher risk for failure in school, emotional disorders, and substance abuse, and are more likely to crime. And whereas Domestic Violence Awareness Month provides an excellent opportunity for citizens to learn about preventing domestic violence and to show support for the numerous organizations, groups, and individuals who provide critical advocacy services and assistance to victims. Now, therefore, it is proclaimed by the Holmes County Consolidated School Board proclaiming the month of October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and the urge of citizens of Holmes County to work together to eliminate domestic violence and intimate partner violence from our community and making our schools a safe space for students. We respectfully request that Friday, October 19, 2018 be observed as Domestic Violence Awareness Day. Throughout the school community, allow students and staff to wear purple to show support for ending domestic violence. We hope that you would take this request into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have
Good evening. My name is Deidre Edwards. I am a parent of students from Goodman Pickens Elementary School.
Today I come forward to the board, posing a question, and maybe hopefully we can come to a resolution. If not, maybe some possible suggestions. My concern is the lunch hour for the elementary students at Pekin Elementary. I currently have a kindergarten who eats lunch at 10:30. If you know, breakfast start from, I think, 7:30 to 8 or 7:57. The issue that I have is maybe by 12 or 1 o'clock, my child and many other students are still hungry. They have complained about the quality of the meals, what's being served, and sometimes they aren't able to eat the meals based on the quality of the meals. I'm just coming forward to the board today to maybe ask if there may be a modification in the lunch hour, seeing that children need food to concentrate, to perform, and to do well in school overall. If possible, if there may be a chance of modification, myself and many parents of Pekin Elementary would surely appreciate it. Currently, we have been asked by some teachers to bring snacks. I bring snacks every day for my 4 children, but some others may not be able to bring snacks. So it's just an issue of at 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock, will the children be able to perform well because they're hungry? So basically my issue is with the lunch hour and to see if there can be any modifications made. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming forward with public comment. And I want you to know, just because we do not interact in conversation with you, that your thoughts are taken lightly. We will look into it and we will follow up on it. As board chair, I give the superintendent a complete directive right now to look into those concerns that have been brought before the board. We're now at item number 6. And item number 6 is approval of the minutes of August 9th, 2018.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Ms.
I so move that we approve the minutes of August 9th, 2010.
I second.
It's been moved by Ms. Winters and second by Ms. Jones that the minutes of August 9th, 2018 be approved. All those in favor use the sign of voting aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Ayes have it, that motion has been carried. Item number 7. We have presentations to be brought forward. And with the presentation that's coming before, I'm gonna ask that if we would switch items 7.3 and 7.4 to let the superintendent give his presentation. Right now we have the Holmes County Consolidated School Intervention Academy.
Good evening. Tonight I'm going to present to you some information concerning a new district initiative called the Intervention Academy. All board members were given an operations guide that gives detail of the Intervention Academy and what it entails. And tonight I'll just give you a brief overview. I want to give you 5 facts and share 5 facts with you. Approximately 30 students on the high school level in Holmes County Consolidated School District and a similar amount of 6th to 8th graders are considered in the overage population. A student is considered overage if they fall in 2 or more grades behind. We have at least 40 students who are referred to the Learning Center every year due to disciplinary infractions, and they're in need of credit recovery. The students at the Learning Center are considered at risk of failure or at risk of leaving school before graduating. Without a more systemic approach to connect with youth demonstrating high risk for leaving school before graduating and out of school youth, we will continue to struggle to fulfill our commitment to educate all students. To address the needs of our overage students and those at risk of leaving school, Holmes County Consolidated School District has established the Intervention Academy. It has 3 goals: to keep students on track for on-time graduation, to provide alternatives for students who had fallen behind in order for them to catch up, and to re-enroll out-of-school youth, or what we call graduates within reach. Each goal is targeted through outreach, personal connections, and a variety of educational applications that support students to graduation. We will be looking at a succinct list of off-track indicators. There are 6 to be exact: low to failing grades in core courses, poor standardized test scores, absenteeism, misbehavior, special education or English proficiency status, and the age entering high school. 3 objectives will drive the operation of the Intervention Academy. We will identify. We're going to use the risk factors and the off-track indicators to determine which students, by name, are most likely to struggle in school and drop out. We're going to look at enrolling those students into the Intervention Academy, keeping them on track, and providing more program options, like virtual learning, like credit recovery. This will ensure that students are enrolled in a program that will prepare them for graduation. And then we're gonna monitor them. We're gonna keep collecting the data, look at their progress, track those indicators, and best predict who is on track or not as we continue to help the students. We'll be working with the wraparound services who we have current MOUs with today. I want you to look at the organization chart. This chart shows how we'll identify at a glance. We identify by looking at data. This is some of the same data that we look at with the multi-tiered system of supports, the same data that we look at with RTI. We're going to track that data. Then we will enroll. Between the director of the Intervention Academy and the principal at the high school, they will work together to decide what students will enroll based upon what they get from the system, support system or the committee members. And then they'll have 3 tiers of support. Tier 1 is credit recovery for those who may have failed in a grade and need to catch up. Tier 2, alternative learning. Those are our kids who may have come through the disciplinary hearing or review process. Tier 3 is virtual learning for students who may need an alternative to the classroom, the traditional way that we know it. And then the Holmes County Central High School GED program. Now, if you look down at the bottom, we've left another part of Tier 3 because eventually we want to look at having students who can get their GED between us and Holmes County Community College. And that is not something that we're starting with at this time. I want to end with a quote from Linda Darling Hanlon. It says, "To begin to reduce the dropout crisis, we must start focusing on the students themselves, not just the numbers." The second PowerPoint that I have in the presentation is about our PBIS initiative. This week, I had the opportunity to take our school leaders, our secondary leaders, our APs, our interventionists, to Oxford to study more about positive behavior supports, and particularly tier 1 of school-wide positive behavior support.
So, excuse me, Dr. Griffin. So before we get started, as you all know, earlier during the year, the school board moved to remove or ban corporal punishment. So in lieu of corporal punishment, we are taking a deep dive into PBIS so that we implement this program with fidelity. And we are training our administrators to do just that, along with the restorative practice. And Dr. Griffin will move through that process for us. Thank you.
PBIS is short for Positive Behavior Intervention and Support. It's a framework or an approach for assisting school personnel in adopting and organizing evidence. It's an integrated continuum of behavior interventions that enhances academic and social behavior outcomes. So we're not going to be just looking at academics, but we're looking at academics along with behavior. And Dr. Henderson already talked about this, but you know that in July, we abolished corporal punishment. And so PBIS is not new to this district, but now we're not using it along with corporal punishment. We're going to use it along with restorative practices. And when we look at restorative practices, we're looking at trust and mutual respect. And it's a system that provides teachers with behavior modifications, and that it'll eliminate the use of corporal punishment. Many of you are familiar with this triangle, because when we talk about academics, we talk about the multi-tiered system of supports, or RTI. We look at it the same way when we're looking at PBIS. What you see at the bottom is what's universal for all students. 85 to 90% of the students in schools will benefit from what we know as school-wide positive behavior supports. It's teaching social skills, it's modeling the behavior that we want students to exhibit, it's having school-wide expectations on a common level, so everybody says the same thing and understands. We have to teach children how we want them to act, and we have to model that behavior. So PBIS is not just for the students, but they're also reinforcers, positive reinforcers for faculty and staff also. What will it look like in Holmes County Consolidated Schools? We're going to have effective classroom management and preventative school discipline. All principals will be shared, will get a shared framework for PBIS, and I think board members, you all got a copy of that framework. PBIS goes further by emphasizing that classroom management and preventative school discipline must be integrated and work together with effective academic instruction. PBIS shifts adults' focus from punishing and excluding to teaching and rewarding, while restorative practices encourage personal reflection, accountability, and healing for both students and adults. We're going to teach kids how to say I'm sorry, and we're going to say I'm sorry to children. What it is and what it is not, it's not a canned program in a box. It's going to support and address proactive systems. It's not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. We all have great initiatives in our schools, and what we're going to do is we're going to have a common practice, a common language, consistent application, and positive reinforcement. It's not being sickeningly sweet to the children and giving them stickers. We're going to be teaching, modeling, practicing, and rewarding appropriate behavior, and have clear consequences for targeted behaviors. It's not ignoring inappropriate behavior. Full staff will have buy-in, and so what I do in classroom A, someone else will do the same in classroom B. We won't accept one thing in one classroom and not in the other. It's not something a bunch of people made up for the new pendulum to swing in the educational field. It's rooted in evidence-based practices. The data will be tabulated with academic data, and they will go hand in hand. What a PBIS matrix looks like, they ask that we have no more than 6 words that students know that they follow during the school day. This one shows respect, on time, accountable, responsible, and safe. And then it gives a description of what each one of those words look like. This school, the example, if you look respect, on time, accountable, responsible, safe, it spells out roars. They're the lions. And so it makes it fun for the children, it makes it meaningful, and it's part of the school culture. There it is. The end. We're shifting the mindset. It's not how we react, it's how we respond. It's consequences to redirection. Thank you.
Kind of clear up my first question, which is your second presentation, but
Thank you.
in your second presentation, the question around how well are you working with community to explain this to parents?
I think that right now we've started with having conversations with our life health workers who have direct contact with some of our students who are exhibiting behaviors that put them in our concentrated group in school, our targeted group. And so we started there. And we will be going out to PTA meetings and answering questions. And we have our interventionists and assistant principals and deans of instruction as part of our team, because those are the people who are boots on the ground when it comes to discipline. And when parents come in, those are the ones who usually do the referrals.
I agree, because I think discipline is something that we all, community as well as the school, have to enforce so that it would take on the role that it needs to take on with our children.
Question. Has the district attorney, the board's attorney, had opportunity to review the framework before it's implemented to make certain that it's consistent with district policy?
Let me address that. Actually, we have taken on that responsibility to review the district policy as we navigate and move this thing forward. So on this particular exercise, we're capable of handling that.
I have a question. What is the turnaround for change with this particular program? What do you expect to see? Do you expect to see change as far as the children as well as the adults in this case?
Well, almost immediately. We're looking at, when you talk about PBIS, we're looking at putting forth reinforcements now. Our schools were well on their way with mottos and their expectations. And so now it's really hammering it home and getting our students to respond. As far as the Intervention Academy, we'll be moving forth as soon as we can partner with our vendor for our software. We want to go with someone who is going to give our students the opportunity to recover those credits, someone who's used across the state of Mississippi. So we really want to move forward immediately.
And that vendor actually is on the agenda tonight. Move forward, yes.
PBIS is not new to the district, is working up, That's why I asked about how well is it communicated to parents, because it's something where we all have to work in tandem to get the message across.
Let me also, Mr. President, share with you, during our conversations with the ministers approximately 2 weeks ago, they have asked that we have a road show around PBIS and restorative practice. So we will be moving forward throughout the community and with our churches in this process.
Yes, sir.
Question. I believe you spoke earlier about identifying, and it would be purposely the students that are overage. Other than overage, what are some other attributes that would constitute a student possibly being eligible for the intervention academy?
Right. There are certain risk factors. Might be behavior. They may have come through a student disciplinary review hearing. It may be absenteeism. It may be that they have a numerous amount of courses to recover credit for. So say a freshman who took 7 courses, failed 5 of them, they may be a child. So we have a system in place in every school. MDE mandates MTSS, the multi-tiered system of supports. So with this, we'll be looking at those kids from 6th through 12th grade who will fall behind in what we call tier 3 of supports. And then those will be those who will be considered. And this is not a unilateral school district decision. Parents will be definitely a part of this multi-tiered system and the committees that are involved in it.
Thank you, Dr. Griffin. We now move down to item 7.4, which will be presented by Dr. Sharon Lee. We'll come back to 7.2.
Good evening, Board President Anderson and members. Thank you for the time tonight to just give a brief update on our instructional priorities for the school district and the support that the academics team is providing to schools. So first, I want to commend our principals, teachers, students, parents on a great beginning of the school year. I visited every school many times over and just want to commend especially the principals who are in the building. If you're here, I haven't looked around to make sure, I haven't counted you all, but I'm sure you're all here. Thank you for being here after a long day of work. So at the leadership team retreat in July, we set forth 4 instructional priorities for the school district this year. We want to stay within these priorities and just focus so that we can stay focused and get really good at a few things. So the first one is the implementation year 2 of the Ready Reading and Mathematics program in K through 8 and the writing program in 2nd grade through 5th grade. The second priority is the implementation of a district-wide assessment for student learning framework. And within that framework sits many of the tools we use to measure how students are doing throughout the school year. And I'll give you a little preview of what we're doing around that in just a moment. We also want to focus on the implementation of the new science standards and curricular resources in grades K through 12, but in particular 6 through 12, in order to meet the new rigorous science standards and a new science assessment at the end of this school year. And the fourth is raising the rigor of student tasks, talk, and writing. So we want our students to be thinking, reading, writing at a very high level. We've done this through a couple of means. So I want to focus in on the instructional part first, the implementation of Ready Reading and Math and Writing, the science standards, and the rigor of student talk, task, and writing. So we've started with the leadership team meetings that are monthly, These are professional development meetings rather than announcement meetings. We focus in on those instructional focus and how leaders can improve their practice around those in supporting teachers and students. We also have, we'll be establishing principal PLCs, but I've also established individual coaching with principals at least once a month and more if needed. We've also established some ongoing learning opportunities for teachers and others. We started with teachers, and there's a professional development session held each Tuesday in the teacher workroom that focuses in on one of the instructional priorities. We've also are creating a comprehensive implementation plan for Ready and Ready Reading. Each principal has identified teacher leaders in each of the grade levels who will receive even more intensive professional development in either math or reading, and they will be in place in schools to help teachers as they need it in the implementation process. We've also created a process whereby teachers and principals can request support online. They fill out a form, and one of the coordinators can then respond to specific requests at schools. And this can come from anyone at the school level who works in instruction. We've primarily gotten them from principals, but we've asked that that be distributed to all teachers so that they can, with a click, request support from our coordinators. We've also worked really hard as the academics team, the coordinators and I, in going out into classrooms and observing together so that we can calibrate our understanding of the Mississippi Department of Education's framework for teaching, and so that we can talk the same language when we're coaching teachers and working with principals. So concerning the assessment, our district-wide assessment for student learning framework, we started the year with a couple of assessments already. You might have heard mentioned students coming home saying that they were going to testing today. We started as early as pre-K and kindergarten with the Mississippi Kindergarten Readiness Assessment, and I'll show you some data concerning that. This week we've started the district-wide implementation of iReady, diagnostic assessment in reading, in ELA and math. And so I'll give you a little bit of information about completion percentages for this week. That information is used for us to, as a diagnostic, for us to begin to know where students are now so that we can start making plans and setting goals for students. We also started sharing weekly discipline and attendance data, and each of the school board members are able to look at that data as a summary each week. What this helps us do is, just like those of you and me who step on the scale each morning, to make immediate changes to our behavior concerning what we notice on a weekly basis. So because of that weekly basis, we've been able to do some problem solving with schools immediately, such as with some discipline data and attendance data that we're getting, so that we're not waiting until a midway point to make an adjustment. We're making adjustments as we go along immediately. So the first piece of data I want to share with you is a result of the Kindergarten Readiness Assessment. The top graph shows where we are as a district. So this is every kindergarten student, every pre-K student that we have in the district that took the Kindergarten Readiness Assessment. And what you'll notice is that we're more skewed to the left, and that's early emergent readers. Those are students, children who are just beginning to recognize colors, letters, etc. They're very early in their literacy development. Those on the far right are those who are beginning to read small books and will likely be a reader by third grade. What you'll notice is that we are very skewed again to the left. What you'll notice, and I want to highlight William Sullivan Elementary School for a very particular purpose, in that they have had a pre-K program for several years. And what do you notice in that piece of data? That we're moving more to the right, which is where we need students to be in kindergarten by the end of the school year. So they have a larger percentage of their students who are in the late emergent reader area and moving toward being probable readers. We have a proposal coming up later in your board agenda concerning an early childhood collaborative program that will enable us to increase the number of pre-K, 4-year-old pre-K slots for our district. And we think that this piece of data gives us hope that as we add pre-K classrooms to our district, that we'll begin to move our readers more toward probable readers as kindergartners. The last piece of data is just an update on where we are with the diagnostic testing. We started K through 12. So what you'll notice this year is that you'll be getting information about each of our students in reading and ELA for diagnostic several times a year, so that you can see the growth students are making throughout the year. Right now, we started this week, and we're expecting 100% participation. Where we are right now is that about 27% of our students have completed completed the math portion of the diagnostic, and about 45% have completed the reading portion. And our coordinator, Mr. Benjamin Torrey, is working very closely with schools to make sure we get to that 100% mark by the end of this week. We're not so concerned with getting done this week. We want to do it right. So as folks are finding that there's some interruptions in services with technology, we've been working with schools on that. So we just want to make sure that we have a complete set of data for you to review concerning where our students are in ELA and math. That's the end of my update. Are there any questions about any of that?
I want to thank you because I have a passion with elementary, especially with kindergarten. You all saw the superintendent was spoken as a part of his entry plan. I would stress doing something with our elementary kids very strong to get them read and recognize it very early. So I want to thank you for what you have shared with us this evening.
Good evening again, everyone. So this is the first time that the board will see this PowerPoint presentation. But for the record, I have actually gone out to every school and have presented this presentation. And so for the most part, I believe that it went over well. But we shall see. We have the results from the evaluation or surveys that you guys completed. We'll share that with you. I have not seen it yet. Ms. Antoine put this together. It was at the last minute, as you know. If I have anyone here from GPE, I left there around 4 o'clock. So we'll see what this data says. So I received a lot of questions around this and genuine concern as to why we're moving in this direction, opposed to allowing your days to roll over. As I have shared with you, we've done our research, and as you all know, the Consolidated School District, Durant and Holmes County, consolidated. Both of those units were separate units. Durant stood alone, Holmes stood alone. Holmes did not absorb Durant. Thus, we have a new school system. In speaking with our attorney, it is in his opinion that effective July 1, pardon my reading, the Holmes County Consolidated School District employees formerly employed by Durant Public School District and the Holmes County School District were no longer employed in the same school district. That's critical. In the same school district. Again, Holmes County did not absorb Durant. Both stood alone. If you had left Holmes County and moved to Jackson Public Schools, yes, your hours would have transferred. Okay? But for those individuals who decided to stay, that is not the case because we are a new school system. And so for that reason, the board charged me with an alternative to ameliorate the loss of sick days. And this is what we have come up with. Each employee shall receive a salary supplement for all former employees. Employees of the former Holmes County School District and Durant School District only. These funds would not be available to the Consolidated School District. Only former employees, Holmes County and Durant. We're going to look at something else here. Bereavement leave. I've never been in a school district, and as I shared with our teachers and staff throughout the district, without bereavement leave days. You know, if my mom died, surely I need time to grieve her death. So in addition to a 12-month employee, the 20 days you already have, you will have additional days, and we'll talk about that shortly. And lastly, we're going to create a district sick bank for all employees. It wasn't lastly. And lastly, thanks to our board, bi-monthly payroll for non-certified personnel will go into effect October 1. If you are not a certificated employee, you will receive your payroll twice a month. This is effective October 1. So that means, support staff, you will get your first check, bi-monthly check, October 15th, and then the last day of the month. So the board has recommended that, so please give the board a hand for that recommendation for you. Okay, well, we don't feel like giving a hand, all right. Not today, all right. Bereavement days, let's take a quick look at that. In addition to your 20 days, 3 additional days for immediate family, parents, spouse, children, grandparents, you can read. 2 days for the first degree relative. And then 1 day, while it's not up here, for second and third degree relative. Okay? The district sick bank. We're going to create a district sick bank for all employees. 1 sick day we're asking to be donated from each employee. To date, we have 473 employees. That will be 473 sick days. Additionally, employees may donate up to 2 additional days, not to exceed 3 total days, which may be designated specifically for an employee with catastrophic illness. For example, if one of our employees
employees has cancer at any school, you may choose to give that employee, if he or she are out of days, 1 or even 2 more days. 9 times out of 10, you'll give them 1 more and maybe help someone else with that 3rd day. You cannot exceed 3 days. But you must participate in the sick bank in order to get these benefits. The Employee Sick Bank Committee. We will create a committee with each employee group. A representative from transportation, food service, maintenance, the teacher unit, administration. We will be represented. This committee, 12 to 15 people, will make the decision on whether or not you get these days once you present your case. We will not. What we're giving you, as I explained earlier to the board, we're giving you control of your days. We'll meet twice a month. That's pending any documents have been submitted. And obviously, the form shall be completed and submitted by the committee to the superintendent, which will move forward from that on these days. This will not require board approval just yet. Sick bank. This is what it looks like. Employee representatives from each employee group will determine the number of days to allocate in response to a request, up to 10 days. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to use all 10 days. You could say, I only need 3 days. I have outpatient surgery. They will approve that. But this is coming from you. These are your days. You can do whatever you want to do with your day. Now watch this. In addition to the 20 days 12-month employees have, now you have 30 days. But watch this. Now if we have catastrophic illness, you're in the hospital, you're on FMLA. Remember, when you're on FMLA, you have to use your sick time and vacation time, okay, right? Here, if you only have, for teachers, 7 and 2, that's 1 week and 2 days. But with your days in this bank, especially after we grow this bank, it's just like money in the bank. If you need more days than what you have, you've created this for you. And you will be able to use these sick bank days. Now, we have 473 employees, or 473 days. If we do not use 100 days of the 473 the first year, this is just for the first year. During the 2018-19, each employee will receive an additional $250 in December 2019. Now this will cost the district approximately $17,000. Is that right, Ms.? Approximately $17,000. That is it for the whole district. Who to call? This is my personal cell number. Each of you, 972-795-0484, before you call any of those other numbers. And who are those numbers? The board. Because they are going to call who? Me. So please, call me first. If I do not address your concern or issue to your satisfaction, these are our home people. Call them. We want you to call them. But ladies and gentlemen, board, this will give our employee a bank like no other. You see, what I did when we talked about this plan, I did not have administrators in mind. I had people like the bus drivers, support staff, custodians, cafeteria workers. I had them in mind, along with our teachers. I'm missing a serious slide. Teachers, you were waiting on that too, right? It's in the wrong place. My apologies. This is the teacher slide, excuse me. It's in the wrong order. Thank you, Ms. Antoine. Teachers can earn up to $1,000 a year or $100 a month for each full month of non-absences. So teachers, as I shared with you earlier, board, I shared with the teachers, if they have not missed a day in the month of August, they have $100 in the bank. September, October, November, December. That's $500 for those teachers who have not missed one day. That disbursement will go out on the 21st of December, the last day in the year. The payment disbursed for the same January through May will go out the last day in May. As I shared with the teachers, why am I doing this? It's simple, ladies and gentlemen. Because this proposal gives student and teacher more contact time between the teacher and the student, and not the student and a substitute. You see, we're going to pay a substitute anyway. So why not give that money to the teacher? The money is going out anyway, substitute money. But instead of giving it to the substitute, we'll be giving it to the teacher, ensuring teaching and learning taking place each and every day. Now these are the results. We have 182 candidates. First question, how favorable are you to sick leave bank proposal? We have 57% who was favorable. How well did you understand the proposal? 70% stated that they clearly understood the proposal. Survey responses. Continue. How do you feel about the proposal to pay returning employees $250 in December 2018 and everyone in 2019 an incentive for not using more than 100 days of the sick bank? 66% was favorable toward the $250 stipend. And then lastly, how do you feel about the proposal to pay teachers for 100% attendance? Nearly 80% in favorable of the teacher attendance stipend. Are you willing to serve on the sick bank leave committee? 23% indicated the willingness to serve on the committee. Any questions, board members?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Before I get any questions, I'm gonna ask you all to quiet down. Before I start to accept questions, I have to say, because a lot of calls came out to board members and calls were saying that the board took the days as a board member, as a member of this board, the board took no 1 day. It was said in the presentation that this board had the opportunity to vote on it. And to clear it up for the record, the board haven't voted on it, but in the presence of our attorney and the superintendent, I would like to discuss this issue in depth in our executive session, based upon the date. Now, I will accept questions that may come from the board member.
I believe you got one of them answered for me already, because I don't recall when the board voted to approve any recommendation. That's it for me. I didn't attend. Have we explored, or did we even attempt to explore how it was previously done under the Holmes County School District as well as the New Ranch School District, to see even if it was workable for staff? Did we even attempt to explore it? That's all I have.
Okay.
Any other questions that may arise?
Somebody else better answer.
If there are no other questions, as I said, that this will be discussed in more detail in our executive session.
Mr. Superintendent, you said 182 people participated
In the survey, yes.
in the survey.
That's correct. As of 5:30 today.
As of 5:30 today. Now, I would have a comment more so than anything, being a former statistician and working with surveys, that we should have gotten 100% of that from everyone to make it feasible, because everyone is gonna be affected by this. And only having 182 people, that does not account for everyone in our school district.
I concur. But those are the ones who, as of that time. But however, there may be more at this juncture, okay?
Everyone given an opportunity to participate.
Absolutely, everyone was given that opportunity. We sent the surveys out twice. Any other questions?
Before you all just branch out in your little groups and go to discussing this board will visit this in more detail in executive session with the advice of our attorney. Moving on.
Thank you.
We're now down at item 8. Item 8 is the financial business. We're still in a board meeting. I need you all to be quiet and get respect of this boardroom presented. Thank you. We're now at item 8, financial business. Next board question. Do you all want to take these one by one, or do we want to combine and do all these? Okay. So we have 8.1, which is the claim docket, which states July prepaid batch, prepaid August batch, and September claims docket.
I so move.
I'll second.
It's been moved by Etta Dean and second by Ms. Winters that this board will approve the 8.1 claim document. All those in favor use the signs of voting aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign.
Abstain.
Ayes have it, that motion has been carried. Ms. Bridgman, we have 4 ayes and 1 abstain. Item 8.2, approval of child nutrition procurement plan. We have an agenda item detailed child nutrition procurement, and then we have child nutrition procurement plan. what's the take of this board on item 8.2?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Ms. Winters.
I so move.
I second.
It's been moved by Ms. Winters and second by Ms. Jones that item 8.2 be approved, which is the approval of the child nutrition procurement plan. All those in favor use the signs of vote aye. Opposed, the same sign. Ayes have it, that motion have been carried. 8.3, approve reverse auction child nutrition 6 days double up.
Mr. President,
Yes, Ms. Winters.
I so move.
I second.
It's been moved by Ms. Winters and second by Ms. Jones that this board will approve the reverse auction child nutrition 6 double up piece. All those in favor use the sign of vote aye. Opposed, the same sign. Ayes have it, that motion have been carried. Item 8.4, the authority to advertise bids for stove in child nutrition. It's been moved by Ms. Jones and second by Elder Dean that this board will give the authority to advertise for bids for the stove for the child nutrition program. All those in favor use the sign of vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Item 8.5, Florida High School Athletics Association. Mr. Superintendent, would you care to elaborate on that?
Absolutely, Mr. President, thank you. The Jaguars will be traveling to Niceville, Florida, this weekend, to take on the Niceville High School. What a name, Niceville. These individuals will be traveling tomorrow, along with the band, and we wish them very well. And for the record, we were actually paid to come and play this team, and the board will later approve this in very short order. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to ask everyone to keep the players, all travelers that's going to this game in their prayers, because it is my understanding that there's a storm brewing up on the East Coast. Next, we're at item 8.6, which is the acceptance of funds from Niceville High School.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I so move.
Second.
It's been moved by Ms. Winters and second by Mr. Hoyle that this board will accept the funds from Niceville High School. All those in favor use the sign of vote aye. Opposed, the same sign. Ayes have it.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, I don't believe y'all voted on item 2.5.
Oh. Okay, that was best for
Contract.
approve the contract.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
I'd like to make the motion to this board on the approval of the contract with the Florida High School Athletic Association.
I second.
it's been moved by Mr. Horton and second by Ms. Jones that this board will approve the contract for the interscholastic athletic contest against non-member schools. All those in favor use the signs of vote aye. Opposed, the same sign. Ayes have it, that motion have been carried. Thank you, Attorney Piazza. We're now at item 8.7.
Chairman,
Yes.
I so move to approve, much in favor of, certified personnel.
I second.
It's been motioned by Elder Dean and second by Ms. Williams that this board will approve the bi-monthly payroll for non-certified personnel. All those in favor use the sign of vote aye. Opposed, the same sign.
Abstain.
Griffin, you have 4 ayes and 1 abstain. Ayes have it, that motion have been carried. Next is the item 8.8, to remove and add signatory.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Ms. Wynn.
I so move.
I second.
It's been moved by Ms. Winters and second by Ms. Jones that this board will give the opportunity to add signatory. All those in favor, use the sign of vote now.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Ayes have it, that motion has been carried. Item 8.9, to approve revised ad valorem taxation request.
Second.
Been moved by Ms. Jones and second by Ms. Winters that this board will approve the revised ad valorem taxation. All those in favor, use the sign of vote now. Opposed, the same sign.
Abstain.
Ayes have it, that motion has been carried. Ms. Whitaker, there's 4 ayes and 1 abstain. 8.10, the request for transfer of funds.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I'm going to ask our Chief Financial Officer to explain that a little bit more.
Okay.
So that's what's making them noise. Good evening, Board President.
Good evening.
Distinguished board members and superintendent. Am I electrical?
Remove the clicker, please.
Oh, okay. We're in the beginning of our audit process, and so the transfer of funds is the first part of that audit process. We go through our financial records, and we look and make sure that we have transferred all of the funds that have come in to the proper fund accounts. And in this particular case, we had some funds from MVP that came in, into our district maintenance account. Thank you. And that is our general operating fund, but they were due to child nutrition. So we are requesting that you give us approval to move those funds out of district maintenance into child nutrition. So we can't move from fund to fund without your approval. Yes, ma'am. So I'm requesting your approval.
All right, board members, what is your take on the request to transfer those funds?
Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
so moved.
I'll second.
It's been moved by Elder Dean and second by Ms. Winters that this board will give the authority to transfer funds from, general maintenance into the child nutrition. All those in favor, use the sign of vote now.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign.
Abstain.
Ayes have it, that motion has been carried. Ms. Bridgeford, we have 4 ayes and 1 abstain. Next item on the agenda, item 8.11, fixed access deletion.
Mr. President,
Yes.
we're going to ask that Ms. CFO to share that information around college and career.
Okay, hello
Technical
again.
Center.
Hello, how you doing?
This is again, part of our audit process. And so, the CTE, Career and Technical Education, is asking to have these assets removed, and these are state assets, not district assets. So, we want to, ask for your approval in this, and what this prevents is from us being deemed during the state audit. Because we have both a financial audit and a state audit. So if they come in and we have not deleted these fixed assets, then we get a ding, and that goes against our performance. So, again, we're asking for your approval to do that, so that, the state can be contacted to come in and remove these as soon as possible.
All right, hearing that, board, let's take a view on item 8.11, the fixed asset deletion.
Chairman,
Yes, Ms.
I also move.
It's been moved by Ms. Winters and second by Ms. Jones that this board will, give the authority to move forward with the fixed asset deletion. All those in favor use the sign of vote aye. Opposed, the same sign.
Abstain.
Ayes have it, that motion has been carried. Ms. Brisbane, you have 4 ayes and 1 abstain. Thank you. Item 812, which is the final budget amendment. Yes, Ms.
I also move.
It's been moved by Ms. Winters and second by Ms. Jones that this board will approve the final budget amendment. All those in favor use the sign of vote aye. Opposed, the same sign.
Abstain.
Ayes have it, that motion has been carried. Ms. Brisbane, you have 4 ayes and 1 abstain. Thank you. Next item is the financial report.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Ms. Winters.
I also move.
It's been moved by Ms. Winters and second by Ms. Jones that the financial report be approved. All those in favor use the sign of vote aye. Opposed, the same sign.
Abstain.
There's 4 ayes and 1 abstain. Thank you. Moving right along to the next item on the agenda. Item number 9, which is out-of-district travel request.
Chairman.
Yes, sir. It's been moved by Elder Dean and seconded by Ms. Jones that the out-of-district travel request be approved. All those in favor use the sign of vote aye. Opposed, the same sign. Ayes have it, that motion has been carried. Item 10, employment of personnel.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr.
we're seeking the approval of the Board of Education for approval of the HR agenda as presented.
Hearing that, board, what's the take of this board? So we're not gonna discuss the employment of personnel? Would you all like to put this on the agenda for executive session?
Yes.
Need a motion? It's been moved by Ms. Jones and seconded by Elder Dean that we table the employment of hiring of personnel to we discuss it in executive session. All those in favor use the sign of vote aye. Opposed, the same sign. Ayes have it, that motion has been carried. Moving right along to item 11, which is a memorandum of understanding. Okay, there.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I also move.
It's been moved by Ms. Winters and seconded by Ms. Jones that this board will approve the MOUs between Creating Healthy, Responsible Teens, 11.2 Mallory Community Health Center, 11.3 4-H Leadership for Life, item 11.4 Boys and Girls Club of Mississippi Delta, Lexington Unit, Item 11.5, shut up. Mississippi Food Network Project, Durant, Mississippi. Item 11.6, Holmes Community College, dual enrollment. And 11.7, Delta State University, dual enrollment. All those in favor use the silent vote now.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Ayes have it, that motion has been carried. Item 12, consulting contractual agreement. 12.1 being Dr. Rod Page, 12.2 being small talk, speech, language therapy.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Ms. Wonders.
I so move.
It's been moved by Ms. Wonders and second by Ms. Jones that this board will approve the consultant contractual agreement between Dr. Rod Page and small talk speech language therapy. All those in favor use the sign of vote aye. Opposed, the same sign.
Abstain.
4 ayes and 1 abstain, Ms. Bridget. Item 13, request for use of school bus, parent 4 kids program.
Chairman,
Yes, yes.
I so move, parent for kids.
Second.
It's been moved by Elder Dean and second by Ms. Winters that this board will approve the request for use of school bus for the parent for kids program. All those in favor use sign of vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Ayes have it, that motion has been carried. Item number 14, sole source vendor purchase, which is a curriculum associate renewal.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Ms. Winters.
I so move.
It's been moved by Ms. Winters and second by Ms. Jones that this board will approve the sole source vendor purchase. All those in favor, use the sign of vote aye. Opposed, the same sign. Ayes have it, that motion have been carried. The next item, which is item number 15, purchase of credit recovery software.
So move.
It's been moved by Elder Dean and second by Ms. Jones that this board will approve the purchase of the credit recovery software, Ingenuity. All those in favor use the sign of vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Ayes have it, that motion has been carried. Item 16, which is the approval of project application grant.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Ms. Winters.
I so move.
It's been moved by Ms. Winters and second by Ms. Jones that this board will approve of project application grants, all those which will be the 21st Century Community Learning Center and Early Learning Collaborative Act. All those in favor use the sign of vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Ayes have it, that motion has been carried. Item 17, approval of district plans, which is 17.1 crisis management plans.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the district plans for crisis management plan.
It's been moved by Ms. Jones and second by Mr. Horn that this board will approve the district crisis management plan. All those in favor use the sign of vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Ayes have it, that motion has been carried. Item 18, the approval of adult education night class. Offering. Yes.
I move the approval of the adult education night class.
It's been moved by Elder Dean and second by Ms. Jones that this board will approve the adult education night class. All those in favor use the sign of vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Ayes have it, that motion has been carried. Item 19, the approval of revised Board of Education calendar.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Ms.
I so move.
It's been moved by Ms. Winters and seconded by Ms. Jones that this board will approve the revised Board of Education calendar. All those in favor, use the sign and vote aye. Opposed, the same sign. Ayes have it, that motion have been carried. All right, we have an item for use of facilities requested. Item 20.1, the request for the use of the facility, which is the band hall and football field, here in Lexington. Would you care to elaborate on that?
This is our Pee Wee League, the Colts. They're requesting to make use of the facility at the high school and the band hall. And we do have security for that event, for those events.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I would make the motion to this board on the approval of use of facilities of the high school football field as well as band hall, with the understanding that security will be present for all events.
I second.
It's been moved by Mr. Horton, seconded by Ms. Jones, that item 20, which is the use of facility, will be granted, provided that security is in place for all events. All those in favor, use the sign and vote aye. Opposed, the same sign. Ayes have it, that motion has been carried. Right now, Chair would entertain a motion to go in a discussion to go into executive session.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'd like to make the motion to the board to go into closed session to discuss going into executive session on personnel matters.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Horton and seconded by Elder Dean, and this board will go into closed session to discuss going into executive session to discuss personnel matters. All those in favor, use the sign and vote aye.
My name is Preston Wright, and I'm representing Mr. Lacy. As far as his personnel hearing, he wishes that to be open.
Quiet down, please. Quiet down, please. All right, this board have a policy centered around personnel matters. And before we accept your request to do this openly, I have to visit with this board as well as our attorney about discussing these personal matters openly.
I suggest you go ahead and clear the room, and we can have some discussion with them outside.
This board will go into executive session to discuss personnel matters, which we will leave the room and you all can return today until we come back. Okay?
No, I just need to, I'm in the tight spot. I need to